Hello students, welcome to Learner's Planet. In today's session, I'm going to start with a new chapter that is pollution of air and water. It's only our planet where the life is possible, and it is possible because of the presence of all those natural resources which are supporting the life. So, two such natural resources are the air and the water. Air, which is providing us the respiratory gas, right, that is oxygen, and it is providing carbon dioxide to the plants also, right. So basically the composition of air is in the form which is supportive for our life. Similarly, water, it is present on our planet in the liquid form, right. It is present in the form of vapors as well as in the form of snow, that is ice, right. So in short, the point is that air and water is in the form which is supporting the life of the living organisms on our planet. Now just imagine if this basic composition of this air and water is disturbed, what will happen, right? So this type of disturbance which is taking place in the air and the water because of natural calamities, the natural processes, or the manual activities, it will lead to the pollution of the air. So in this chapter we are going to study about the pollution of air and the water. See, in general, pollution is defined as the addition of unwanted particles, right? Or I can say the undesirable components which are added in the environment, right? Or alternatively, it can be the removal of the essential ones. So if this condition arises, then the condition is known as the pollution, right? And if this pollution occurs, it can actually harm, it can destroy the living world. So this pollution, it is if it is taking place in the air, then it is known as the air pollution. We can exactly define this air pollution as an undesirable change in the physical, chemical, or biological characteristics of our environment, that is of the atmosphere, right, which can affect the biotic and the abiotic processes. So why this undesirable change is taking place here? Whether it is physical or chemical or biological, whatever it is, why this change is taking place? It is because of the addition of some different components in the air, which is not its normal part of the composition. Or even we can say, if the proportion of the particular particle is changed, it has increased tremendously, even then the physical properties or the chemical properties are going to change, isn't it? So whenever such type of changes occurs in the air due to addition of such particles, then it is known as the air pollution. Now how this change is taking place? Of course, as we have discussed earlier, there are many different chemical and biological processes are going on, which are maintaining the proportions of various gases in the environment. Now if it is changing, that means there must be some activities going on. So these in undesirable changes, they are taking place because of the natural processes or because of the manual activities. Now whatever is the process, basically it is disturbing the environment and is going to affect the biological health, right? So now let's focus on the point that what are these exact causes behind the air pollution. Well, in general, the components that causes the air pollution, they are known as the pollutants. Not only the air pollution, it can be any type of pollution, and the particular agent which is added or removed from the natural resource, that particular component is known as the pollutant. Now of course these pollutants, they are from where they are coming in the environment, it is because of the natural and the manual activities. Some examples of such type of components in the air are carbon dioxide. See, carbon dioxide is the natural component, right? But it increases because of the various activities. Now, of course, if this carbon dioxide increases at a very high rate, then what will happen? You can imagine, we have discussed this earlier also, isn't it? It is a low concentration of this carbon dioxide which is maintaining the temperature on the earth, and that is one of the important characteristic feature which is responsible for the survival of organisms, right? Further, the other unwanted particles could be like carbon monoxide, oxides of nitrogen or the sulfur, or they can be some suspended dust particles, right? Or simply it can be chlorofluorocarbons, I'm sorry, so CFCs, and there are many more, right? Now the thing is, from where these things are added. As I've already said, it is because of natural causes or because of manual activities. So now let us see that which particular activities are changing the normal composition of the air. See, some of the natural causes are like forest fire, volcanoes, or the dust storms, and there are others also. This forest fire is actually a natural disaster which is taking place because of the burning of forested area. And you can imagine, if some forest is burnt out, what will happen? It will of course damage the wildlife, right? Further, it can destroy the biodiversity, and even it can affect the human health, because the emissions which are coming out, they can travel a long distance, and of course they can change or they can affect the air quality. Now if air quality is disturbed or it is changing, then it is going to affect the biological health also. You know that whenever there is a burning, there is a release of carbon dioxide. So from this you can imagine that if they are taking place in this way, I'm sorry, then enough carbon dioxide is now it is present in the environment, and that can change the environment's temperature, isn't it? Besides that, the particles, right? The particulate matter which has been eliminated, that can travel a long distance, and that if it is inhaled or it is accumulated in the environment, it can damage it in different ways, right? As it can cause the respiratory problems also, right? Or further, it can be responsible for the smog or the fog and so on, isn't it? The next one is the volcanoes. Now, volcano or this volcanic eruption is actually one of the most important natural cause for the air pollution. As whenever such type of eruption occurs, there is a release of many different types of gases, and these gases which are coming out, they include sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, hydrogen fluoride, and so on. And all these are causing the air pollution. Further, besides these gases, there is the release of volcanic ash also. And this volcanic ash, it can travel hundreds to thousands of miles, right, along with the wind. So what will happen now? As it is covering a huge area, then it can have the effect on the very large population of living organisms. Further, besides this, the fresh volcanic ash is somewhat gritty. It is rough, right? And even it is corrosive. So whenever it is inhaled, right? So what it is going to, I mean, what effect it will have? I'm sorry. Of course, in that case, it can cause the respiratory problem. Also, when the volcanic eruptions are generating such pollutants or the ash, what will happen? They accumulate in the environment or in the atmosphere, and this can block the sun rays. Now, if this sun rays is blocked, what will happen? It can change the land temperature in the affected area, isn't it? So, these volcanoes, they can have many different types of effects. So, these next one is the dust storm, and the dust storms are more common in the arid or the semi-arid regions. Now, why these are arising? See, what happens when there are the strong wind, they blows the loose sand and the dirt from a dry surface. And these materials, they can actually transport it to different regions. Um, and of course, therefore, they can affect the different areas. Now, after this, let us see the manual activities which are affecting, which are causing the air pollution. So the very first important manual activity that causes the air pollution is the deforestation. See, deforestation is actually cutting down of the wood or the forest, right, at a large scale. Now, deforestation, I'm going to just give you some important information related to this. First of all, why this deforestation is done? The reason is it is because of the fulfillment of the basic needs of the human beings. And what these needs are? They are related to the wood, right? Timber wood or other in wood for different purposes. Then the urbanization, that means for the settlement of the city life. You can say that, right? Then for agricultural purposes, industries, then for transportation, the roads has to be constructed, or the railway tracks are to be constructed. For that purpose, the deforestation is done. Then for the dam, right? There are many different reasons for which the deforestation has now become a very common practice. And of course, it started just for the modernization, but now it has shown its own effects, right? And what these effects are? They are like the soil erosion, desertification, the bio damage to the biodiversity. Then it causes global warming, isn't it? Then the rainfall pattern has changed. Even the amount of rainfall, it has also changed now. Floods, landslides, all these are the common effects of the deforestation. And of course, on the other hand, some actions should be taken so as to prevent this thing. And what can be done for this? The solution is like afforestation, reforestation, then establishing some eco parks, avoid overgrazing. Overgrazing is another reason for the air pollution, right? Then preventing the forest fires. Steps should be taken which can help in avoiding or preventing the forest fire. And the most important thing is spreading the awareness about the sustainable development and the conservation of the natural resources. And this is the point for which I'm just explaining this deforestation in this session, right? In a little bit more way. So these terms you are aware of, and just use this knowledge so as to protect our environment. Now the next important causing agent for air pollution is the combustion of fossil fuels. We know that these fossil fuels, they are very important and are utilized by most of the people, I should say everybody, either directly or indirectly. And these includes the fuels like coal and petroleum, right? This coal and petroleum, it contains the small amount of nitrogen and sulfur also, right? Otherwise they are having carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Besides that, these nitrogens or sulfurs is also present. So when there is a combustion of fossil fuels, or there is a burning of fossil fuels, then the oxides of nitrogen and sulfur are produced. Not only this, there is the production of carbon dioxide, as well as sometimes carbon monoxide is also released along with the smoke coming out from the vehicles or any other equipment where these fossil fuels are used, isn't it? Besides this, they contain the suspended particles in air, in them, right? And which is added in the air. Now, these suspended particles are what? They are actually the unburnt carbon particles, which we call as the hydrocarbons. So overall thing is that these oxides of various components, or the suspended particulate matter, they accumulate in the environment. And over there, when they react with other agents, they affect our environment in the very different drastic way. They causes damage to the biotic and the abiotic components. And you know how this happens? See, if these are there is a oxides of these nitrogen or the sulfur, then what will happen? When the cloud formation occurs or when the rain occurs, then what happens? These oxides, they react with the water. And when such type of reaction occur, what will happen? There will be the production of acid. So along with the rainwater, these acids are coming on the earth. So this type of rain is known as what? The acid rain. I will show you one picture for this. See, here is a picture. These are the this is the smoke coming out from the building, I'm sorry, from the factories or from the industries, or even it can come out from the vehicles, isn't it? So what is there in that? These smokes, they are containing the oxides of what? Sulfur, nitrogen and all, and they will accumulate in the environment. Now further, they are carried away by the wind, and when they react with the water in these clouds or anywhere, they come down along with the rainwater. Now such type of rainwater is having the acids. Oxides reacts with the water and they form the acid, right? Which oxides? The oxides of nitrogen or these inorganic material, and such thing is known as the acid rain. Now just imagine if we are exposed to such acids, right? Our planet is exposed to such type of acid. What will happen? It will kill the plant's life. It will damage the plants. It can cause the pollution in the rivers or in the streams also. It can have effect over the stones or the buildings, isn't it? Besides, it can destroy the biodiversity also. It can destroy the composition of the soil, isn't it? And there it can affect the microbes also. So this is how this acid rain is very dangerous. Further, besides this oxides of nitrogen and sulfur, there is carbon dioxide and the carbon monoxide also, isn't it? And this carbon dioxide, if it increases tremendously in the environment, it leads to what? The increased greenhouse effect. And this can cause the global warming, right? As we have studied about the greenhouse effect already. Right, so it increases the temperature. If there is a high amount of carbon dioxide, then the temperature will increase much more, and this will result in the global warming. Further, they are having the hydrocarbons or the suspended particles, isn't it? Now, how these suspended particles are affecting? Let's see that. See, these hydrocarbons or the suspended particles, I'm sorry, they results in the smog. What is the smog? It is a mixture of smoke, fog, and other chemical fumes. So you can see that you can experience it in your daily life also, isn't it? So normally what happens, the fossil fuels, when they are burnt, they release out these suspended particles, and these particulate matter, they react with all these components and they result in uh, this smog appearance. And the high level of such pollutants, this is going to cause the it is lowering the visibility, right? The vision is not so clear because of the appearance of such type of layer of such a smog and all, right? And it happens especially more in the case of in the cold weather, and where of course water is also going to condense, so that it becomes very dense then, right? Now in that case it can lead to different accidents, right? The density is more, so it can cause the breathing problem also. It can lead to the respiratory or the heart diseases. So now you can imagine that how much dangerous it is again. Here you can see the sources from where the smoke or this pollutants are arising. Automobiles, which are increasing day by day, use of these automobiles are you can see the roads are now, what the traffic is there, isn't it? So you can see that how much smoke is ejected out from the vehicles. Besides that, it is used in the industries from where the smoke is coming out. Thermal power plants, one of the another major cause for the release of such smoke, isn't it? Besides this, if I am talking about these industries, it is not only the burning of this fossil fuel is causing the damage to the environment. There are gaseous other effluents also. Well, these effluents, they are basically the waste which is generated from the industry, right? That is known as the effluents. And if it is a gaseous effluent, it is released out into the air, right? So normally what happens, if there is some chemical reaction is going on, or it is used up as a part of industrial process, then what happens? As a result, some gaseous effluents might be produced, and these gaseous effluents, they are eliminated out through the chimneys. Now they contain some toxic or the dangerous components also. right? They can contain the metallic oxides, particles of metallic oxides. They can have some hydrocarbons, the gaseous residues. There may be some toxic elements in that, isn't it? And all these together, if they are released out in the air and is inhaled by some other people, of course it can cause the damage to the health also. Not only this much, it can also damage the biochemical cycles. Well, it is not only the gaseous waste which is causing the damage. Even the solid waste which is dumped out in the open areas, it can also eliminate different types of gases in the environment which are persistent and toxic. So that part, some attention should be paid over there, and the proper solid waste management should be done so as to avoid such type of problems. Next is the chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, or they are also known as the freons. They are extensively used as coolants in the refrigerators, right? Or in the air conditioners, or as the propellants in the home insulation foam, or in the metallic cans, and so on. Although the use has been prohibited nowadays, but still the use of CFC was very common, right? And it has damaged our environment so badly. You know, they are persistent, they are not decomposed readily in the environment. They accumulate and they goes in the upper region of the environment, where it is causing the ozone layer depletion. So this ozone layer depletion is one of the important effect which is shown as a result of such type of causes. See, this picture is showing some similar effect. In the troposphere, there is chlorofluorocarbons or other halogens which are rising up in the Earth's surface, right? And further, as it rises up in the stratosphere, they actually break the ozone. Ozone is present in the upper layer of the atmosphere. So this is CFC. It reacts with these ozone and they convert it into the normal oxygen and the atomic oxygen. Right. Further, when this depletion occurs, that O3, that is ozone, it is depleted here and is causing a it is decreasing or it is reducing the thickness over there in that region. And that this part where the thickness is reduced is actually known as the ozone hole, or we can say a hole in the ozone layer, right? So such ozone depletion, it now allows the entry of harmful ultraviolet rays. You know very well that ozone is acting as a shield in surrounding, right? And if it is damaged, then these UV rays can enter into the atmosphere and can cause the damage to the living as well as non-living things. So now here you have seen that what are the different causes of the air pollution and how they are directly affecting the environment and the health of the organisms. Let us just summarize all these effects together in a flowchart. So now let's see this exact effect of the air pollution. See, air pollution, as we have discussed a lot, now you know that it can have effect directly on the nature, or even it can affect the living organisms, right? Well, with nature, I mean the non-living components, right? So on nature, how this effect is taking place? It is because of the acid rain, smog, global warming, and ozone layer depletion. Acid rain, it can have effect over the abiotic components, like it can destroy the sculpture, or it can cause the decolorization of the buildings, right? Then it destroys the soil quality. Besides that, even it can cause a weathering of rocks, isn't it? Further, smoke, it can lead to the poor vision. Then it can lead to the accidents also. If these are particles which are present, they are inhaled, they can cause the damage to respiratory system also. Then global warming. What are the important effects? You know that? See, when the global warming occurs, it is a resultant of the increased greenhouse effect, isn't it? So it can cause the overall increase in the temperature, right? Then as the temperature increases, what will happen? The polar ice cap starts to melt. Further, as the polar ice caps are melting down, the water, where it will go? It will go to the oceans finally, right? And thus it can lead to the rise in the water level of the oceans. And when such types of things occurs, what will happen? Finally, the rainfall pattern is going to be disturbed. And all these things will actually degenerate the biodiversity. As this rainfall pattern is changing, it can lead to the destruction of the crops also, right? Besides this, of course, it affects the survival of the living organisms, and again, it can lead to the ozone layer depletion indirectly. And you know very well what happens when this ozone layer depletion takes place. We have already discussed. It leads to the UV rays. They are is entering into the atmosphere, and if our skin or our body is exposed, it can lead to the skin cancer. It can lead to the damage to the eyes also. So, however, these are the effects which are on the human health. So, let's see that what are the effects actually on the living system. Altogether, we will summarize the point. First of all, I will discuss the effect on human beings. In that case, I must say that the phenomena like smog or acid rain, global warming, or ozone layer depletion, altogether they are having one or the other effect on the living system. For example, due to air pollution, human beings can suffer from the diseases of the trachea or the lungs. Trachea is a part of respiratory system, isn't it? So if this polluted air is inhaled, directly it is causing the damage to the respiratory system. Then besides this, it can cause the cancer of lungs. It can cause damage to the kidney, or it can even cause the night blindness. Not only this much, even the if the UV rays are directly exposed, right, or our body is directly exposed to the UV rays, it can cause the skin cancer also, isn't it? Because it can lead to the mutation, right? What is this mutation? Mutation is basically the alteration in the DNA. Right, I will not explain it in very much detail, but yeah, just understand that it can actually damage the DNA. And this, when the DNA is damaged or alteration in the DNA sequence occurs, it leads to the diseases like cancer. Fine. Besides this, the air pollution causes the alteration in the blood pressure. It can cause the high blood pressure or even in the blood pressure in different individuals. It affects the reproductive power of human beings. You know, it affects the fertility of a person. And overall, most important effect that altogether it can decrease the lifespan of the person. Further, air pollution is also having effects on animals and on the plants and on the microorganisms also. Fine. For example, in animals, it decreases the milk producing capacity of the dairy organisms, right? Then it affects the age, that is the lifespan of a person, and even the lactation period. Fine. Then physical defects are observed, and most importantly, the skin becomes rough. And this is basically because of the UV rays. Then for plants, there is the leaves of the plants will fall down, right? And when the leaves are falling down, it can directly have the effect on the photosynthesis. As the green parts are depleting here, then the photosynthetic process will also be slower down. New shoots, they are destroyed. They are so fragile, they are so young, or they are sensitive, so they are directly affected because of the air pollution. Even the growth is stunted, it is hindered, and further premature flowers and fruits can also fall down. So all these are the effect of the air pollution, right? And as for microorganisms are concerned, then it can damage the it can destroy the quality of the soil or the different components, and thus the microorganisms, they are their growth is hindered or it is inhibited. The normal flora is changed. Besides that, the mutation occurs. So different strains are produced, which may be beneficial or which may be even harmful. So now, considering all these points, prevention of air pollution is required. And how this prevention is done, you all are very much aware of it. Some common preventive measures are like control of emissions of gases from different sources, whether it is a vehicle or it is some industry or wherever. This emission should be controlled. Further, when the emissions are coming from the factories or any other sources, they should be well treated before they are exposed to the environment, right? Then fuels, they should be used quite smartly. Initially, we must minimize the use of fuels, and further, when the use is done, then smartly some measures should be taken. For example, we can hire a common conveyance, right? We can walk for a shorter distances, isn't it? Then some anti-smoke laws should be implemented, isn't it? Further, more and more trees should be grown. That means afforestation and reforestation, it should be followed properly, right? And there are many other preventive measures and that you have already studied in your previous classes. Well, students, now I will simply discuss some case studies with you, which are the direct effect of the air pollution. One such case study is related to the acid rain, right? And of course, as I have already discussed about the acid rain, you know very well that it is having the harmful effect over the monuments or the buildings. Of course, it is having effects on the human beings also and other living organisms. But this case study, it shows that the acid rain is leading to the corrosion of the marbles. And this corrosion of the marbles is known as the marble cancer. Because of this acid, the marble of Taj Mahal is getting yellow, right? It is getting decolorized. And why this decolorization is taking place? It is because of the emissions which are released out from the refinery in the Mathura. Taj Mahal is located in Agra, right? And now you can imagine from the Mathura, the emissions which are coming out, they are having the oxides of nitrogen, sulphur, and carbon. And these are mixing with the water, which is leading to the acid rain. As this acid rain is poured over over Taj Mahal, it is leading to the decolorization of the marble, right? So this historical monument is getting damaged because of this air pollution. Now, of course, to since it is a very important historical monument, so to save Taj Mahal, Supreme Court has laid down some orders so as to control the air pollution, and for that some measures have been taken. That has been forced by Supreme Court. It is like switching to the cleaner fuels like CNG or LPG. Right. Then the automobiles emissions from the automobiles are also controlled. It is controlled by switching to the unleaded petrol in the zone where Taj Mahal is present. Another case study is the Bhopal gas tragedy. Uh, I don't know whether you are aware of this tragedy or not. It occurred on 3rd December 1984 in Bhopal. During this, you know what happened exactly? A poisonous gas that was methyl isocyanate. It was leaked from a particular pesticide industry in Bhopal. And this particular gas, it is actually a tear gas and it has led to a very serious effect. You know, and the effects were so much serious, they were so much dangerous that they are still persisting, right? The victims, they are still having such type of effects. In this particular tragedy, thousands of people were killed. They were died at that moment, right? And besides that, millions of them were injured. These people, they were suffered from multiple type of ailments. What type of problems were created? It was related to eye diseases like cataract, conjunctivitis, poor vision. Some were facing complete blindness also. Then there were some neurological problems in the people that lead to the reduction in the memory skills and the motor skills. Then further, it led to some lung diseases, high body temperature and the low immunity. There were the problems related to skeletal and muscular system also. And you know, it was a situation which was having a long term effect. Besides this, The people who were still not born, even they were exposed to such type of problems. It was not once it happened, it was over at a period of time. No, the effects were having the if I mean it was over there on the people who were about to birth, or who were exposed to it later on. It means this also lead to some congenital problems in the people. Besides this, tons of toxic material, it got seeped into the underground water, and due to this it even led to the water pollution. So you can see that how the gaseous air pollution is having such drastic effects on us and the surroundings. So this is all about the air pollution. Further, I'm going to discuss about the water pollution. Till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day. Goodbye.